Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students, my super little scientist. Hope you people are doing very well. Today we are going to introduce ourselves about some scientist, about very famous scientist who has done great inventions in the past. Fine. Islamic scientists, we know that they have a lot of contributions in the science. Today we are having the introduction about five scientists, that is Isaac Newton, Louis Pasteur, Marie Curie, Jane Goodall, and Alfred Nobel. The first one is Isaac Newton, and I know that all of you are aware about that name, that is Newton. You people have studied before that Newton and the apple story. Today we are going to read out his other work, that is that he studied forces and the motion of objects and formulated the laws of motion. That he has studied the forces, that how forces act on a body and how the motion means how the body move and how it will be affected by gravity. That we will also compare he has also compared the gravitational force on earth, on the moon, and within the space. That's why he was able to tell us about the gravity. Next is the story of apple tree. That was the most famous story about Newton, and it is very interesting. I always love to read that in one afternoon Newton was sitting under a tree, that was an apple tree near his house, thinking about the problem of gravity. Suddenly, an apple fell down from the tree, and he thought, why did the apple fall down to the earth but not fly to the outer space? It was actually he has observed and then has made the hypothesis at that time. And now we are believing on his hypothesis as a law of gravitational force, that gravity always attract the things down to earth. That's why apple was also fallen down to the earth. So it was a law of motion. You can say it was also an example of law of science. In the last video that we have studied the scientific method, so it is a example of law of motion, a law of science, that is law of gravitational force of Newton. Next is Newton principle help the thing determine the orbits of space vehicles and understand the motion of objects in space. His gravity principle all help many scientists to work on the motion of different objects, the different planets and stars in space. The next scientist is Louis Pasteur. He was the brilliant scientist that he has discovered vaccines to protect human beings and animals against a number of deadly diseases, including rabies. And rabies is a disease that is caused by the biting of a mad dog. So Louis Pasteur, what he has done, that he has given us the vaccine that we are using till today as well. And the special one is about rabies, that he has saved us from to have the rabies disease. Next, rabies was the last achievement for the astonishing scientist Louis Pasteur. Could be deemed one of the greatest benefactors of human due to his numerous contribution. He has given us vaccines, and vaccines are actually protecting us against the different diseases. So that's why he has blessed the humanity with his contributions. One more thing that a Pasteur has done, that he has discovered the process of pasteurization. Pasteurization is named after the name of the scientist Pasteur, Louis Pasteur. What he has discovered, that the harmful microbes in milk and wine cause sickness. He invented a process called pasteurization, and pasteurization is the process of heating milk or cream or other liquid things to a specific temperature for a specified time to destroy any potential harmful microorganism and increase its keeping qualities. Now you are boiling the milk. That idea was actually given by the Louis Pasteur to kill the germs present in it, so that you will not get harmful diseases. The next one is he has also written many beautiful quotes, and one of the quote that I'm mentioning over here, and I really like that little science takes you away from God, but more of it takes you to him. That if you know little about science, then it will cause misconceptions in your mind, but if you know and understand science more, then you will know more about the God as well. It was the very beautiful thing that he has said. Next is Marie Curie. What she has done, that she has discovered and studied the nature of radium. Radium is actually an element, a radioactive element that emit light from it. You can see the picture of radium as well. It is found in the rocks. It is an element. What are the uses of radium? That radium had been used for a variety of paint, recreational use, medical use, and research. Radium had been used to make self-luminous paints for watches, aircraft, instruments, dials, and other instrumentation until it has largely been replaced by cobalt 60, a less dangerous radioactive source. That he's saying that before cobalt we are using radium as a illuminating substance, but now cobalt is there. Both are radioactive substance and they emit radiations from it that is actually harmful to us. That's why now the scientists have preferred cobalt over radium. Radium is used to produce a radon, a radioactive gas that is used to treat some types of cancers, and a single gram of radium 226 will produce about 0.0001 milliliters of radon a day. Radon is also an element, a gas. In 1909, the famous Rutherford experiment used radium as a alpha source to probe the atomic structure of gold. This experiment led to the Rutherford model to the atom and revolutionized the field of nuclear physics. That are very interesting things, that what Marie Curie has discovered the radium, and that radium the people are using in paints, in watches, in aircraft for the lighting purpose, for the illuminating purpose, right? And then radium at the same time is a radioactive substance that will emit radiations from it, alpha radiation, that the Rutherford scientist has used in his experiments. Means Marie Curie has discovered an element, and that element was used by other scientists to discover, to do their discoveries as well. The next one is Jane Goodall. She is my most favorite scientist, that she was too passionate and too curious to study science. His passion will show you that she has spent 10 years of his life, 10 years of her life in the forest with the chimpanzees, and it is really very difficult to live in the forest without the facilitation of modern world. So she was a British scientist, and studied wild chimpanzees in their natural habitat. Habitat is actually a place where we are living. So chimpanzees live in tropical rainforest. So she has preferred to go there and study their life in their homeland. So in Africa for more than 10 years. She lived in tropical rainforest where the wild chimpanzees live. She stayed in a forest without the comforts of modern facilities and was exposed to the risk of tropical diseases like malaria. Finally, she was able to observe and make interesting discoveries about the behavior of the chimpanzees in the world. That she has lived with them for 10 years, so she has discovered a lot of things that we people don't know about them. So she has known because she has lived with them, lived as a member of their family. So she has understand them better. Next, you can see some pictures as well about her, about Miss Jane Goodall and her time spent with chimpanzees. Next is she has quote a very beautiful quotation, that chimpanzees, gorillas have been living for hundreds of thousands of years in their forest, living fantastic life, never overpopulating, never destroying the forest. I would say that they have been in a way more successful than us as far as being in harmony with the environment. They are more environment friendly than us. Next is Alfred Nobel. Alfred Nobel, he was the inventor of dynamite and left much of his wealth for the establishment of Nobel Prize. That he has discovered dynamite. Dynamite is a type of explosive that is used in bombs and weapons. But when he has discovered, now he was sad at that time as well, because according to him he think that he has given an explosive to the world which will destroy the world. So he was sad, so that what he has done, the other thing, that he has given all his wealth, all his money for the establishment of Nobel Prize, the prize that is given to the scientist who has done good for the society, who has created peace in the society. So just to remove the factor of using them as a weapons to kill the people, given all his wealth to establish the Nobel Prize to improve to improve the humanity, to develop the humanity among the scientists. Who? Alfred Nobel. So that's why Nobel is his second name, and Nobel Prize is also after his name. Alfred Nobel was the son of an engineer, and he has worked a lot in the field of weapons and that's why he has discovered an explosive substance, that is dynamite. That's all from my side. Thank you so much for listening me. Hope you people will understand the point that I have guided you. Take care. Allah Hafiz.